By the way, in this throughout my journey here in the year one, I was continuously missing my love. I tried many times to talk to her, to email her, but apparently I was blocked on all social media platforms and by emails also. And there was not a single day where I didn't cry for her. In spite of having choices of so many beautiful girls around, I had a firm belief that I will get her back one day. But no, she used not to reply at all. And if at all she replied, she used to reply to move on. So when I went back, first of all, I visited my all family members, and the welcome was a grand welcome, as if someone had come back from a war. There were firecrackers, there were big garlands as per the Indian traditional welcome. And meanwhile, I tried again to meet my love via my friends. I got opportunity to meet her also, but again the same thing. She explained me. I explained her in what circumstances the things had happened. I again apologized her like 1,000 times, and she was firm. She said, I've moved on in my life, and she has moved on in my life, and she asked me to move on me also. And so she was not in position to listen to me at all. But still I had very firm belief that one day she'll come back in my life. I did not tell to my family members under what circumstances I had to come back. I just told everyone that I'm here only for a few months, and then I'm making this visa application and I'm coming back to UK to start my own business.
परत पहिले पाडे 55 म्हणजे हा प्रकार सुरू झाला. त्यांना आम्हाला येऊन सांगितले की आता मी बिझनेस करणार आहे आणि बिझनेससाठी आपल्याला पैसे पाहिजेत. मग आम्ही तरी एकदम खचून गेलो आणि प्रचंड मनातून चीड आली की हा पोरगा वेडा आहे का, मूर्ख आहे का, नालायक आहे का, अशी परिस्थिती आमच्या मनात आली. कारण एक तर लंडनला विरोध करत होतो जाण्यासाठी, पैसे नव्हते आपल्याकडे. कसं तरी लोकांच्या हातपाय पडून कर्ज काढून त्याला लंडनचं शिक्षण दिलं, आणि आता पुढे जॉब तर नाही, आता पुढे त्या ठिकाणी बिझनेस करतोय. आणि आमच्या पूर्ण खानदारामध्ये नात्यामध्ये कुणीही बिझनेस केलेला नाही. आम्ही मध्यमवर्गीय असल्यामुळे माझी अशी इच्छा होती की ह्यानं काहीतरी जॉब करावा, भले लंडनला नाही तर भारतामध्ये जॉब करावा, काय कमी पैशाचा असेल तर भारतात जॉब करावा, जॉब करून राहावं. पण ह्यानं बिझनेस, ह्याची कल्पना काय आहे की बिझनेस करायचा. आम्ही म्हटलं अरे आपण धीरूभाई अंबानीच्या खानदानातले नाही, टाटाच्या खानदानातले नाहीत आपण, आणि आपली त्या ठिकाणची लायकी नसते आपण बिझनेस करायची, आणि तू बिझनेसच्या गोष्टी करतोय म्हणजे कुठेच तू आपले हात छताला पोचत नाहीत घराच्या, आणि तू त्राबळाला हात टेकवायला चाललास. हे अशक्यप्राय गोष्टी कशा करतोस तू, तुला काही समजत आहे का नाही का. ह्याच्यावरून आमच्या घरामध्ये प्रचंड वादन की महिनाभर भांडण चालू होते.
In the month of January 2014, I remember I was asleep at my home in Pune, and in my sleep in the morning I started to hear a quarrelsome voice. My father was shouting, and there were argument between my father and my mother. And then I opened my eyes, and then I heard saying him, no, I should not go back to the UK. I should not start the business. It's very risky. It's very dangerous. No one in our family had done any kind of business. And I should remain in India, and I should go and try to find some job. And so that was his thing again, that I should not do business at all, or I should not get involved in these activities, business activities. And in that moment, I woke up, and I was so angry, because same things again. They were happening again, same things. And in that anger, I had argument with him that no, this is my life. I will do whatever I want, and I'm not going to listen to you at all. You had done this many times in the past. I have been listening to you, I have been following you. I am not going to listen this time at all. I am going to the UK, I am going to start business. And in that moment of anger, I decided to leave from home. I packed my bags. I didn't know where I was going. I packed my bags and I just started to walk out. My mother was there, my brother was there. They both were trying to stop me. My mother was crying. She was in tears. And but no, I mean, it had to stop for me. I mean, there was no way that I was again going to succumb in my father's emotion, again emotional blackmails or whatever that was, the control. So I just left house and I didn't know where I was going. I left house in the moment, and I haven't had brushed my teeth also in the morning. I haven't had breakfast. I just packed my bags and I left house. I came to Mumbai. It's a funny thing, when I was working in Coventry University, so one Marathi couple came to me in Coventry bus station when I was working as a Libara telephone sales agent. While interacting with them, they told me that they are from also Maharashtra, and I told them about me, and then we interacted in our language. And they were from Mumbai. Their daughter was studying there in Coventry. Mr. and Mrs. Pai, they gave their contact details, and they said if I ever visit Mumbai, then I should call them. So this was the time. You never know who you would meet and who again would come to your rescue. So I called Mr. Pai, and he was living in Mumbai in very prestige area of Mumbai in Andheri, Veera Desai Road. So I called him, I explained the situation, this is how I had happened and I don't have a place to live, so can he help me? And I visited his place, and he was very kind. He offered his other place next to his house to live me without any rent. And I explained him I don't have such budget, but he said no, I'm not going to take any rent from you, and you can live here whenever, until what time you want. It was empty. So that's how people come to each other's rescue. And I started living in Mumbai. I started to work on the business plan activities. While in the Mumbai, I made subsequent visa application, and I was just waiting for the visa result. And one day I was sitting on a Juhu beach, which is very famous beach in Mumbai. I was watching all the planes taking off from the airport, Mumbai airport, going right above my head on the sea towards UK. And I was just looking those planes all the time, and I used to cry that ever if I'll get opportunity to go back to UK or not. On the same time, I received call from my brother mentioning the result of the visa is there, and I have got the visa. And I was in tears, in happy tears. I wanted to celebrate that moment. At the same time, one little girl, she came to me begging to, she was begging for money, and she came to me. So I wanted to celebrate that moment, so I took her to nearest Starbucks, which recently opened in India, the new Starbucks chains. The Starbucks people, they were not allowing her to get in. I requested them, and then I took her with me, and then I celebrated that moment with her, gave her some chocolate and some sweets. Yeah, and after that, everything was set. On 4th of May 2014, I flew back to UK again.
शेवटी परत पाहिल्यासारखं त्यानं आम्हाला पटवलं आणि मी बिझनेस करणार. तुम्ही पैसे दिले नाही दिले, कोणाकडून मी जाईन, काही बी करीन, मी करेन आणि
स्वतःच
जाणारच.
खरं
असं
प्रत्येक
करून
गोष्ट
शेवटी
स्वतःची खरी केली.
परत आम्हाला पुन्हा एकदा त्याच्या पुढे आम्हाला
हात टेकावे लागले.
गप्प बसावं लागलं, हात टेकले आणि त्याला आम्ही परत पुन्हा दुसऱ्या फ्लॅटवर पुन्हा त्याला लोन काढून दिलं. त्याची 15 लाखाची मागणी होती, तर आम्हाला 12 लाख फक्त फ्लॅटचं लोन मिळालं. माझी नोकरीचा पिरियड राहिलेला त्याच्यावर 12 लाख लोन मिळालं आणि इकडून तिकडून 1, 2, 3 लाख कोणाची 15 लाखाची त्याला रक्कम दिली.
And now the struggle to create Indian movie friend had begun, to create the business had begun. So as I mentioned, I didn't have any idea, I didn't have any connections, I didn't know anyone. So the journey began and I started to meet potential clients and the leads and everyone. No one was giving me any attention. I was 25, no one was entertaining me. And again, my funds, they started to disappear rapidly. And I didn't have money and things were in progress, things were just growing. That moment, one of my distant uncle, he came to the UK in London. He was working with Ensues. I left Coventry in August 2014 and I came to live with him in August 2015.
लंडनला शिफ्ट झाल्यानंतर तो त्याचे चुलत मामा जे होते, आमच्या भाऊजाईचे भाऊ सचिन पोद्दार, हे त्या ठिकाणी वास्तव्यात होते कंपनी थ्रू काही दिवस महिन्यासाठी. तर त्यांच्याकडे त्यांना तो अगोदर शिफ्ट झाला आणि त्यांच्याकडे तो राहिला आणि त्याच्या सोबत राहिल्यानं थोडं लंडनची काय माहिती मिळाली.
I was living at his place, but in hall I was sleeping on the floor. My journey, it was in the continuation. I was working to develop new connections. No, nothing was clicking. Every day I used to go out and meet people, nothing was clicking. One day came my uncle, he had to leave. He finished with his project and he had to go back to India. And that time, I was there without any money. I mean, I could not ask to anyone also, without any money, without any home to stay. So nothing was there. And that time also, the little doggy which we had for like almost 15 years, since I was a kid, at the age of 10 to age of 25, so we had that doggy called Bulbul. She also died because of the old age. I could not be with my family or with these moments with my family. She was very loved dogs and there were like around 40 to 50 people came for her funeral. So that much loved she was. So my uncle left and I didn't have a place to stay, and that was the first time in London I was homeless. I didn't have a place to stay at all. One generous couple, Maharashtrian couple whom I just met once, I approached them. They were very kind to allow me to live at their place. They were also living in a council flat, so it was very small place, very small flat, like just 1 bedroom and 1 kitchen, very small. So the couple and myself, and we were sleeping in the same room. I lived there for a week, but I started to feel embarrassed about the situation, and then I left that place and I went to Coventry again, and there I started to live in the university secretly by developing friendship with the guard. So I was living in the university. I was having showers in the university gym, and so I was living there like it happened for 2 weeks. and still all the activities and the plans related with the business were going on. In that time, one colleague of mine, Simranjit Dhariwal, who was studying with me, and remember I told that my batchmates, they came to me to ask how did I manage to get the graduate entrepreneurship visa. So he was one of them, and I had helped him to get this visa. So he got to know about my situation, and big-hearted guy, and being from a Punjabi community, he was again very kind. He took me to his place despite I was saying no, but he just forced me to get his place, and it was a good gesture of kindness. I lived with them for again 2 weeks. In this time, what had happened, my previous connections for the meeting, they started to click, and I started to generate some business. Business started to work and started to give some money to me. So I came back to London again, and I began to live in a hostel near Victoria train station, Holland Hall. And I also joined Coventry University's London campus, which is near Liverpool Street Station, and I continued my business operations from that place. So one day I was sitting there, and in my office, and one gentleman, he came into the office, and we said hi, hello. He introduced me as a Swapnil, and then I said, yeah, okay. So I asked where you from, so he said I'm from Maharashtra.
खूप इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी आहे की मी 8 नोव्हेंबरला माझं कॉन्व्होकेशन झालं आणि मी 24 नोव्हेंबरला इंडियाला परत आलो आणि असं डिसाईड केलं की चला आता आपण इंडियामध्ये जॉब करू. उतरलो मुंबईमध्ये आणि माझा लॅपटॉप उघडला सरळ ईमेल्स चेक करायला. मला युनिव्हर्सिटीकडून एक ईमेल आला होता की इफ यू आर इंटरेस्टेड तर आमच्याकडे एक नवीन प्रोग्राम सुरू झाला आहे, Tier 1 ग्रॅज्युएट एंटरप्रिनरशिप. मी थोडं इंटरेस्टेड झालो की म्हटलं चला आपण ट्राय करूया म्हणून. सो आय केम टू UK. ॲट दॅट टाइम लंडनमध्ये एंटरप्राइज हब नव्हतं, तर फक्त एक रूम होती, एक क्लासरूम टाईप रूम होती, ते द्यायचे आम्हाला की यू कॅन यूज दॅट. सो अराउंड दॅट टाइम ओनली मला वाटतं एक 10 फेब वगैरे असेल, तर त्या ऑफिसमध्ये अजून एक मुलगा बसलेला दिसला आणि ऑब्व्हियसली आय डिडंट नो की तो मराठी आहे वगैरे काही. तर आम्ही जनरल कॉन्व्हर्सेशन इंग्लिशमध्ये केलं आणि आमच्या दोघांच्या ऍक्सेंटवरून आम्हाला लक्षात आलं की आपण दोघे मराठी होतो.
He connected with each other, and then he suggested me a cheap place to live in London, which is called East Ham and Upton Park, which I didn't know at all.
मी रेंट सांगितलं, तो शॉक झाला. तो म्हणजे एवढा तर मी तू महिन्याला देतोस तेवढं तर आठवड्याचं रेंट आहे मला. आणि मग त्याने थोडे रेफरन्सेस हे करून तो माझ्या एरियात राहायला आला.
So you can live at these places only for £200 with food. Yeah, you heard it right, with £200 and food per month. All these East Ham, Upton Park, Wembley, or Tooting, some parts of Croydon, Harrow, these areas, most of the people who come from a state called Gujarat or who come from a state called Tamil Nadu, so Gujarati people or Tamil people from other South Indian states, Kerala or Karnataka. So this family, but majority, and Punjabi as well, but majority are from Gujarati background. What they do, they come to this country and they rent a big house. The man of the house, he goes for job. Most of the times they work in off license job and they earn around like 1,500 or 2,000, and by renting the house they further sublet it. So in a room they sublet a room to 3 to 4, sometimes 5 people. So in the particular in the entire house is being sublet to Yeah, sometimes you find, if the house is for 3 or 4 rooms, so you find like around 15, 16 people or 20 people living in the house. So in a room, you find 2, 3, 4 or 5 people living. And that's how the lady of the house, or she earns the money, she runs the home, and the family who are subletting, they save their rent also. So this system is there, it exists in the parts of the London. And I started to live in that arrangement. I was sharing a room with 4 other guys, so we were 5 guys living in a room. But the experience was so enjoyable, and first time after coming to UK, I started to feel started to have a wholesome Indian family experience. The food, the house lady, she used to cook, used to be very delicious. So that thing gave me stability in order to my finances.
आणि मग आमचं ट्युनिंग चांगलं जमलं, कारण आम्ही रोज एकत्र ऑफिसला जायचो, आयडियाज डिस्कस करायचो की काय करता येईल, काय वगैरे. आणि मग आम्हाला लक्षात आलं की आपण जर एकत्र काम केलं तर खूप फायदा होईल.
During the same time, I had to increase the visa which I had received, that was only for 1 year. So in order to extend that visa, I had to show that business is running. After that, I had to show investment of £50,000 external equity investment in the business. So they would give me 3 more years of extension for that visa, which was the entrepreneur visa. And after the 3 years, I had to show job creation of 2 British employees, and then they were giving me 2 years of extension. And after that, I was able to get indefinite leave to remain, or which is called the permanent residencyship of the country. So just understand the enormous of uncertainty. A guy like me, at the age of 25, 26, who didn't have business background, who didn't have business acumen, who didn't have financial backing, who didn't have any support from anyone. And this kind of uncertain life ahead, the 7 years of uncertainty ahead, and uncertainty of visa extension every year by fulfilling the requirements. Any rational thinking person would have left this process. But I was there, I didn't, and I was not living the process because the big dream was seducing me. What was the big dream? I still was not aware, but I knew that something good going to get happen in this process. I just need to stick with the process, and then I will eventually find out my own calling. But somehow I knew that my calling is in film business, the film industry. But how to make it happen, I did not know that. So I used to struggle with these questions: who am I? What am I doing here? What is the purpose of life? What I'm doing? What is my identity? My identity is an actor or a filmmaker, but I'm doing this business thing, and which I'm not. So it was very confusion. The existential problem and the identity crisis. It was eventually there. I figured out I have that, but I had to follow the process step by step, and then eventually I'll figure out answers of everything in this journey. So I received 1 year extension with the help of my efforts which I put in the business for developing business. I received 1 year of extension. So during the second year of extension of graduate entrepreneur visa, in order to grow business and get this equity investment of 50,000 to get the further 3 years of extension, I offered Swapnil to be part of the business, to be a business head of the company.
आणि मग आम्ही रोल्स डिफाईन केले की प्रतीक वुड बी अ फेस ऑफ द कंपनी बिकॉज दिस वॉज हिज आयडिया ही वॉज क्वाईट आउट गोईंग अँड आय विल टेक केअर ऑफ ऑपरेशनल आस्पेक्ट आणि अकाउंटंट्स बरोबर डील करणं आणि बाकीच्या गोष्टी ह्या मी हँडल करायला लागलो. प्रतीक सेल्स, इन्व्हेस्टर रिलेशनशिप्स वगैरे हे करू लागलो.
So that time, the struggle to grow business or to, what do you say, now in order to survive further, it had begun. I remember while traveling in the tube, I used to give the leaflet and the pamphlets about the business to everyone. The only option to get the funds in or to grow the business was to get an external equity finance as soon as possible, because the business was growing on its own organically. I reckon that it would take time. So, with no understanding and the experience about raising funds in the equity and the internet business, I was ridiculed by all the family members and all the friends and colleagues, because they didn't have understanding or the knowledge about raising the equity finance, and neither I. Swapnil, who was also part of the business, he also didn't have the understanding, so he also was skeptical about raising the funds, and so they didn't understand this thing, so no one had a faith in me. The things which I used to talk about to them about the equity finance, getting the funds in, then grow the business. They used to make fun or kind of get ridiculed. But I decided, and then I began my journey, and I began to search my options, meet investors after investors after investors continuously. So in 2015 we met so many investors. Already we had met like 60-70 people. We just go and randomly meet people and pitch them and explain them, and the experience was so bitter. Some people, one investor, he invited us to come to Manchester. We both went to Manchester, and he never appeared there. So, and one investor from Canary Wharf, chasing him for a year, and then after a year he said no. So we had such, not once, not two, like countless experiences like that, many experiences. So they were on next level, and I used to get so frustrated and angry about that. I used to curse in Marathi, all the Marathi possible curse word to them. But no, I mean, things had to be grown with the help of equity finance. During all this time, again, of course, I was chasing my my first love, and one of the when I was homeless, I was living in the university. When I was asking questions to myself, why I am doing this, and what is the purpose of everything. So the motivation point for me was be something in coming few years and get the attention of my love. In order to, she will say yes to me and do something. That was my motivation. It was already 3.5 years I was chasing her after the breakup, and I was still very optimistic that she will come to me. And one day came, our business was recognized by Telegraph newspaper, and they covered my story, and they displayed the story. And the story was picked up by BBC Asian Radio, and BBC Asian Radio, they invited me to interview about the business. As I went there in the BBC headquarters, which is near Oxford Circus, I saw the images and the photos of all the legendary actors from India, Amitabh Bachchan, Shah Rukh Khan, Amir Khan, sitting on the same chair where I was going to sit in next few minutes. So I was very scared that, what is happening?
A business entrepreneur, his name's Pratik Shelar, and he's developed a portal, if you like, for Bollywood movie fans. Now, if you're a big fan of films, you'll know that you have to kind of scan lots of different websites to find out when Bollywood films are coming out, which cinemas are showing them, that kind of thing. Well, Pratik has developed a solution to that, and Pratik joins me now. Welcome to the program, Pratik Shelar. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you. So tell us a little bit about this new development. It's called IndianMovieFriend.co.uk.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us, how does it work?
Yeah. Indian Movie Friend is a movie social ticketing portal. It gives information of all Indian movies which are releasing in the UK market. Apart from that, people can get tickets of these movies from all the cinemas which these movies are getting released.
Yeah.
And apart from that, people can make account and can socialize with each other.
Oh, okay.
With Bollywood movie lovers. They can make friends with each other. They can share the movie experiences.
Yeah.
And they can have a record of their own favorite movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So essentially it's a portal where you can find out which films are coming out, where they're on, which cinema, buy your ticket through it, and then talk to other Bollywood fans about it.
And BBC interviewed me, and it was one of the proudest moment. I interviewed with the BBC, and everyone in India was tuning in for the interview. My family, Wasim and friends, everyone. And later on, I came to know that my father was in tears, that no one believed in me. But after the interview, he thought, okay, that I'm doing something right with my life when media covered the story. So that was very pleasant surprise, and I thought, okay, this is the moment now. I should get back to my love, and I should tell her, now I'm something, and can we please be together? So after that, after a couple of months after that interview, when I was trying to get in touch with her, I got to know news of her marriage, that she is engaged and she is getting married. I had lost all the motivation in my life. I just lost the motivation. Why should I do this? What is the purpose of doing everything? Why should I just bother about doing this? So I didn't do anything. I was just sleeping for the next 2 months. I had lost all the hopes and everything. But yeah, this is life. One needs to move on. So after 2 months, I gathered all my senses, and then I began to focus on developing the business. And that's how later then I met Swapnil, and this getting the investment of £50,000. It began a thing, and then to make visa extension and to have equity funding, and then that became, to grow the business became the motivation of the life. So in 2015, while we were struggling to raise funds, and we were out of funds when me and Swapnil we met. So we considered earning some money by selling our sperms also, but later we discarded that option. And around the same time, my family, they started to hound me for marriage. As per the Indian traditional system, they wanted me to get married, arranged marriage, ASAP. So they said, what should we tell to girls' parents, whom now for the relation the proposals are coming. We can't tell them that the boy is doing business, or he has got his own business in the UK, because if you are telling them, people are running away. They don't believe it, that how can someone go to UK in London, and they have their own business because people go there to either study or to do job. So they used not to. My parents were facing the problem when they were mentioning that I have got a business. So people used not to believe them. So I told them I'm an entrepreneur. So my parents were like, so they were not familiar with the concept of the entrepreneurship with the entrepreneur. So they didn't know what my profession was, the entrepreneurship was about. So I told them to tell people, other people, that I work as a marketing head in a company called Indian Movie Friend. So it would make more believable for them to communicate with others.
खाण्यासाठी प्रॉब्लेम यायली त्याला, पैसे नसायचे जवळ, आता काय करायचं काय नाही, फोन करायचा, फोनवर बोलायचा, मग परत काय सुधरत नव्हतं. मग मीच म्हणले बाबा माझ्याकडे काही थोडे सोनं आहे ते मोडून तुला देते, तू उपाशी राहू नको, हे करू नको. पनू सोबत बोलले, पनू मला आता त्याच्या नशिबावर सोड, जे असेल ते होईल त्याला, आता आपण तर काय करू शकत नाही. मी थोडं माझ्याकडे सोनं होतं, मी ती सोनं मोडून 2दा वसीमला पैसे पाठवायला लावले, एकदा 25,000 एकदा 20,000 असे. मग ते त्याचं जेवायचं खायचं तर भागून गेलं.
Remember, I told that I was living in a house of 5 members. I mean, in a room with 4 other people. So one of them was Rahul Ithape. He was working in Accenture as a software engineer. He saw my struggle. He saw something in me. He saw some potential in me, and then he introduced me to. He promised me to introduce to the investors. So he then introduced me to his investor colleagues, wealthy colleagues, and one of them was Mr. Raju Boja Chitrala. And I approached him, I pitched him, and then he invested £10,000 in the business. That was the first investment he received. Initially he said no, but because of my relentless pursuit, he finally agreed to invest, and then he invested. And Raj was the person who introduced me to Dr. Mahesh Patwardhan.
लाभले आम्हास भाग्य बोलतो मराठी.
So Dr. Mahesh Patwardhan, a famous gynecologist in London, such a big-hearted guy. He understood our journey story project. He was surrounded with all the Indian celebrities, and although he had a guy with the connection, let's put in that way. Almost every famous Indian movie star or cricketers, they used to live at his place, and generous family, kind family. I had such bitter experiences in the UK, and there were only few kind people who were here, and they just accepted me wholeheartedly, and they gave all the right connections to get the funding.
ते दरवर्षी एक मोठा इव्हेंट करायचे, गरजा महाराष्ट्र म्हणून. तर तो इव्हेंट आपण यावर्षी करावा असं त्यांच्या डोक्यात खूप होतं. आणि आता आमचा सपोर्ट, आमचं सगळं बॅकग्राऊंड आल्यामुळं ते थोडं अजून त्यांना करणं सोपं झालं, आणि तो प्लॅन झाला इव्हेंट.
Meanwhile, the business was of ticketing and the events. So we started to organize and have partnerships with big events, such as a distribution of a few Marathi movies, which was not a thing in the cinema. So we started a distribution of well-known Marathi language movies in the cinema. So we were pioneers in that. So we distributed a very popular film called Katyar Karzat Ghasli and Natta Samrat with the help of Dr. Mahesh Patwardhan.
ह्या वर्षी आणि ह्याच्या पुढे आय एम सिन्सिअरली होपिंग की आयुष्यभर सहकार्य लाभेल. हे मला दोन खूप कौतुक वाटतं. खूप उत्साही तरुण आहेत, प्रतीक शेलार आणि स्वप्नील कुलकर्णी, ज्यांनी इंडियन मूव्ही फ्रेंड्स नावची एक संस्था स्थापन केली आणि विदिन नो टाईम त्यांची ग्रोथ हॅज बीन एक्सपोनेन्शियल आणि खूप काम करतात आणि ह्या वेळच्या गरजामध्ये त्यांचा सिंहाचा वाटा आहे असं मी म्हणू शकेन आणि ह्याच्या पुढे प्रत्येक गरजामध्ये असेल.
Finally, around December 2015, we managed to raise all 50,000 pounds with the help of external investment, and we managed to make application at the beginning of the January. This time we appointed a British immigration lawyer so as not to make any mistakes in the application, and the application should go smooth.